Show, episode number 536. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is with me here in Las Vegas on a 4th of July weekend, Independence Day. It's Independence Day if you're part of the Lingerie Fighting Championship. Treason Day if you're an American.
Treason Day! Take that, King Charles.
It is the holiday weekend. This is probably, 4th of July in the United States probably is like the most revered like holiday weekend, right? I mean, this is the weekend that like everybody takes off, everybody goes to the lake, like most businesses are closed. But I feel like this is the one that most people just kind of kick it and enjoy it the most, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because it's just about, it's in summer. It's around people want to barbecue, people want to have drinks, people can hang by their pools should they have their pools. But yeah, I mean, this is the fun one. We have other holidays that have more somber meanings, the Memorial Days, and the Labor Days, and other days where people will still choose to barbecue and spend time. But this one is literally, it's a party.
And I mean, listen.
It's a party. Outside of New Year's Eve, this is the one.
Well, look, I was going to say, the thing is, as Americans, we're always looking for a reason to go have a frosty beverage, right? Like, hey, it's St. Patty's Day. We got to celebrate. Like, bro, you ain't even close to Irish.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
We drank on that one.
People are like, it's Mexican Independence Day. Like, no, it's not, you dummy. It's Cinco de Mayo. It's not Mexican Independence Day. But, we got to drink tequila. So we're always looking for excuses. But I think, you know what? And it's not, and again, I don't want to say that it's not civic pride in the nation or whatever, but I think it's just the fact that it's in the middle of the summer, right? So it's like the one holiday that's in the middle of summer, and yes, everybody loves fireworks that are associated with it and all that, and we do. I will say there's one thing in 17 years living in Las Vegas, it is funny, like, because there's a lot of places where you got to kind of like sneak around to have a little firework. You got to be careful. You got to import and be. Here, man, it's just like it's guns blazing out there, bro. People just shooting off their fireworks everywhere.
That is true, but they do actually try to stop them, but it's like a lot of them just still get through. But I saw because I follow like I think Metro and I think the Highway Patrol, they were showing they were pulling over people coming from like California and other places, stopping trucks and like pulling out all these fireworks. I was like, somebody must have tipped them off. How do you figure out what vehicles to stop?
Yeah.
But I did see some stuff. So
but
they were try to
is that like people. They were importing them to sell, or they were just like bringing in some that like too large of caliber?
But you're not even supposed to bring them in, I guess.
Really?
You're not even supposed to have possession of them in the county or the state or something. You're not even supposed to. So like,
but you can buy them.
That's what I thought. I was like, they're not even firing them off, but you have possession. It'd be like bringing something that's like, I don't know, I guess it's like they treat it like it's a banned substance or whatever, and you're bringing it into the state, and they're like, well, we have the right to search your vehicle, and if they find them, they'll take them. Whether you're shooting them off or not, you're not even just supposed to have them in your possession.
I didn't know that. So I can
buy
them.
Getting through it.
I can buy them at every parking lot and every corner of every gas station.
But those are not the ones. Those are not
regulated.
The big ones. Yeah, it's the big giant ones that are the fantastic ones. Nobody cares if you're running around with a little sparkler. They're like, go on, Johnny, burn your fucking hand with that sparkler, do your thing. It's the ones that set off the big giant cannons that can let your neighbor's house on fire. But it's amazing because like you said, everywhere you look here in the valley, you see people putting fireworks off, and it's like a show, like legit big ones. I mean, like, people putting mad money in. So I love it. I like it personally because, you can walk up front and you can see all kinds of crazy. The animals absolutely despise it, and it's so hard.
Not a good time to be a dog.
It's like 2 days to try to get the dog to go outside to use the restroom. Yep. I'm just like, bro, this is brutal because people let them off at all hours. Like, it's not like, hey, it's nighttime. Let's from 8 till midnight, we're going to let off fireworks. Like, bro, they already started the other day. Somebody was putting some out front. I thought it was a gunshot, and I was like, oh, wait, no. People are testing shit.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's already getting crazy. But, yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. It's a double-edged sword. I love being able to go out there and see it, but it's never ending.
Yeah.
It's days of people just letting off fireworks. But still, people are fun. People have a good time with it, I mean, if I ever find myself starting to complain about fireworks to the point like, I just wish people would stop, then I'm officially old at that point. And then officially just put me into a home at that part, like, because I am a party pooper.
Can I be honest?
It's,
Can I be honest? I'm not a big fireworks guy. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Like maybe the first time when you're like 9 years old or something, and you just see explosions in the sky. It's like,
Yeah.
amazing. Or maybe if you're like tripping acid, let's say, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, right?
the colors are incredible. But as far as like, and I hate to be like, because I feel bad, because like my wife and kid are back in town. They've made it back in from Mexico, and
That's good.
they're here
That's
now. Yeah, it's good to be spending. So I'll definitely be spending some time with them this weekend. But yeah, when it comes to like celebrations like 4th of July, when they're like, "Do you want to go see the fireworks?" And I guess that makes me a horrible father, because I'm just like, nah, not really. Like if you guys
Can you
want to
guys
go,
see any from the park?
you can. Yeah. You can. Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not the same as when you go in and it's right in your face.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, even for me this year, I don't, granted, I don't drive anywhere, but I was thinking about walking out by the train tracks where I normally walk, because you can see down to the strip and then you could see around the valley a little bit.
There you go.
So I was thinking about something different to see that sort of thing. But I guess it's different. When I was a kid, there was a thing in Columbus called Red, White, and Boom, and they let the fireworks off down by the waterfront, and everybody in town goes down there. There's stages with music, and it was a big thing that for many, many years, that was like the thing to do. If you didn't go to your little local one in your whatever your suburb was, you went down to Red, White, and Boom. Here, they don't really have a big one centralized major one for like Las Vegas. There's a bunch of ones at different little properties, so I think you could pick and choose. I guess if it was back home, it'd be like me going and say, "Hey, I'm going to go to the Whitehall fireworks this year, or the Grove City fireworks,"
Right.
as opposed to here, you might be like, "I'm going to go down to Suncoast, or
Yeah.
one of the random ass casinos
Yep.
that puts them on or whatever." But I can see where when you're a kid and it's just when you're real little, it's a thing.
Right.
It's a core memory that you might have. But after a certain point, now your kid's old enough, he might be like, "Oh, Dad, I'd rather spend it with my friends or whatever,"
100%.
especially because they
He's
just
like,
got back from a trip.
Yeah.
He's probably like,
Do I have to interrupt my gaming right now to go watch that or whatever? Like, no, son, stay in the online gaming. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I think we're talking about what we'll do tomorrow night. And you're right. Luckily, because of the valley, the way it is, and kind of where we are, where it starts to slope down, you can kind of see if you go to like the park or whatever. You can kind of look out over and see it. So yeah, I mean,
if that's enough.
That's enough. That's enough for
fireworks
me.
definitely look a lot better when they're in your face and it's huge and it's up in the sky. When they're just a little like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
It's like,
okay." When it's off in the distance,
I did.
It's like, why did I come out for this?
I did. Now, now I can't ball like this. I was just thinking. I do remember one time. I don't know why. I wish I could remember. I mean, not that it's important to the story, but I remember I flew home back to Vegas, and I landed on the night of 4th of July. And as I was coming in, it was nighttime, and I'm flying in, and I'm seeing like all the different displays all over the valley. Now, I will say that did look cool. So, if you were balling, you could like rent a Maverick helicopter or something like that and take like a night cruise. No, I'm not saying private jet.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm just saying like.
Well, no, I was just thinking like you're like, "Hey, let's fly out to L.A. real quick and then come back just so we can
Just
see."
time the flight just right. No, you know what? I haven't even looked, but I bet Maverick Helicopter does like a tour like that, like at a certain time or whatever. Or they?
Oh, yeah,
and they
yeah.
probably charge you a premium since it's 4th of July or whatever. But that does look cool from the air.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And it's probably been booked for months.
probably been booked for months. So happy 4th of July to everybody, all the American fans out there. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you have a great time. Not a lot of big MMA. I will say there is some MMA. Now, you could probably find a couple of regional small shows here. I mean, most regional shows won't even do events simply because it's hard to sell tickets because it's kind of like an outdoor holiday. You know what I mean? But PFL MENA does have a show on 4th of July. So Friday morning, that starts at 12 p.m. Eastern time, so 9 a.m. here in Vegas. And then the next day, PFL Europe, actually. So on Saturday, July 5th, they've got a show that starts at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. here in Las Vegas. If you're in the United States now, you can catch that on the PFL app, so you can watch everything live and free on the PFL app. And if you're globally, I think everything's on DAZN pretty much everywhere else. They might have some different television partners elsewhere, but I think that's kind of their big one. A couple of the European show, actually, Danny Roberts is in the main event there. Taylor Lapilus against Ali Talib in the co-main event. So, a couple decent fights. But anyway, if you want to see some fights, and we always say, right, I like the morning fight. So when they're doing stuff in Europe and the Middle East, man, that's wake up in the morning, throw it on. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure I can turn on the PFL app and then like cast to my Apple TV or something like that, so I could watch it on TV.
Should be able to.
Should be able to do something like that.
Unless for some reason their phone they build it into the app to not use that. I don't know why that would be.
I'll have to test
like
it
if
out.
They're trying to control.
I'll have to test out because usually there's stuff I'm trying to watch like while I'm somewhere else, so I'll just leave it on my phone. But there's nothing else going on, and I'll have it on. So I'm gonna try that out this weekend, see if I can throw it on my TV. Have that on in the background. Like I said, I'm not a big 4th of July celebrator, but we'll be cooking out a little bit. There may be a frosty beverage or two along the way, as we have it. Although, I mean, that's after. See, most people are taking tomorrow off. Cole Coffey and John Morgan. I mean, we're the kind of guys that never rest. You know what I'm saying? It is fight week it's fight week for everybody in the PFL, and it's fight week at the Lingerie Fighting Championship. We got work to do tomorrow. I mean, we were just before we went live here and started recording, I mean, we were pouring over our research notes, reviewing some tape, you know what I mean? Talking about
reviewing past fights,
some of the old matchups.
Yeah, there's some heavy rematches coming on.
Oh
boy.
I mean, join us for that Lingerie Fighting Championship. The journey continues. It's a little Independence Day live for me.
USA versus UK. It's actually, for those that are over there in London, it is actually taking place at the Stanley Arts venue. Even though I thought that there was a different arena name, but I'm going off of the notes. But it is over in London. It is a US versus UK edition. It's never been like this before. I don't think they've done
no
US versus UK. I feel like they've battled some, like they've had UK fighters on it before. But this would be the first fledged. And the fact that it's on 4th of July.
Oh, Treason Day, and they're bringing a couple Americans to get on the
Day.
mic. That's bold. That's bold. By the way, Stanley
Arts. They're taking Bella Inc. over there. Like, let's go.
Let's go. It is Stanley Arts London, by the way. It was formerly known as Stanley Halls. And if you read about the event space, it's art, music, dance, comedy, film, spoken word, theater, workspaces, bars, cafes, and more in the heart of South London. So if you got nothing
now
to
it's going to have a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole little bit of clothing.
Look forward to that. All right, listen, busy stretch. Like I said, we are going to, after that is done, I think you and I will both be enjoying the weekend. So we got a little bit of work to do on Friday. Then I think you're off all weekend, and I am as well, the CFFC crew. We got some busy stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. We got a show in Tampa, and then we got back-to-back events in Atlantic City. I think everybody's going to kind of enjoy this weekend. We did have a busy stretch, though. Kind of a fun stretch, actually. My boss, CEO Rob Haydack, was in town to have some meetings with the UFCs. We got some, just kind of the things that you do, keeping up with Fight Pass and the UFC and that sort of thing. But it coincided perfectly with Anthony Garasio, our heavyweight champ, who was in town as well. He was filming some of his Dana White's Contender Series stuff this past couple of days. I didn't know. I knew he was on the show. Now, I know we have Anthony Garasio. He's fighting Tuesday, September 9th. We got Jimmy Drago, August 12th. We only fought once for us. It was a no contest. Dude's exciting. It was unfortunate because he's winning a fight. Had a clash of heads. No contest. But I was glad to see they picked him up anyway because he definitely deserves to be in there. And he fights on August 12th. And then Kaushik Sakamar is on August 19th as well. He's a Ryan Hall protege, hailing from India, so pretty cool there. The ties to that population and that nation, of course. He's on August 19th. But Anthony Garasio, who we knew was fighting on September 9th, I just found out this week that he's actually – I know they don't really have main events, but he's the headliner that night. So he's the final fight that night. On September 9th. So looking forward to seeing Dana White's Contender Series get started again and watching those guys. And everybody, we all love Contender Series. But so he was in town filming like some of the pre-fight, some of the B-roll and the training footage and all that stuff. But just the way it worked out with Rob having to be in town for some meetings, Anthony having to be in town to do some filming, we all got to kind of hang out a little bit, and I got to show him around the city a lot. So it's kind of fun. Took Anthony. It was Anthony, his girlfriend, and his coach, and then we grabbed Rob as well. We went out to Red Rock, which was awesome because Anthony hadn't been in Vegas in years. It was his first time with his girlfriend here. So like right away, we were like, all right, look, we'll show you the Strip. And we did. We drove up the Strip, and we showed them different things. But I'm like, you got to see off the Strip a little bit. So we took him out to Red Rock Loop. And it was super cool because, I mean, it's funny. I look outside right now, and it's actually raining. It is monsoon season, a little bit of rain. But we were actually out there. And you and I have both talked about it before, and I know you just filmed out there and did some really cool filming for USA Today. it is gorgeous out there at Red Rock. And I always tell people, if they're coming to Vegas and they can get away from the Strip and the casinos for a little bit and they want to see something a little bit different, go see the Red Rock Loop. Just because it's beautiful landscape out there, and you can hike and if you want to climb, rock climb, you can do that. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, and I'll let you fill in any pertinent information as an expert in the field of national parks. But it was really cool because while we were out there. It was kind of an overcast, not even an overcast day. It was cloudy, so it wasn't.
I was going to say because it rained in some parts. So I was thinking about you because I know the next day it definitely rained, but I remember you were talking about going out there. I was like, bro, I hope it doesn't rain.
Well, it did rain, but it rained in like the coolest way possible because we got it. So it was kind of cloudy, sunny, but cloudy, so like it wasn't hot. And so we made it about halfway. We made it up to like the high point of the loop before you turn around and start coming back down. And and that, if anybody's ever been there, you get to the high point and you can just kind of oversee the whole valley, and it's a really gorgeous thing. And then all of a sudden, we could see the rain coming in, and it was so wild because you could literally just see like this sheet of water. I mean, here it is. It's beautiful. It's sunny. Everything's going on, and you can literally see the sheet of water in the distance, like slowly making its way in. And we kind of watched the whole rain come in, and they got to experience that thing where like. All of a sudden, you can smell the water in the air because you can smell the moisture, and then it started raining like crazy, and we ran in the car, and we drove out of there, and then if you remember, I think this was maybe Monday or Tuesday. Then it was followed immediately by a sandstorm, which was bizarre.
Yeah,
like,
the dust storm.
The dust storm was crazy. So anyway, but that was cool. And then we got to show them around. We went to Fremont Street. We had a nice dinner at Oscars at the Plaza, which I love that steakhouse at Oscars. One day we got to take him to Pizza Rock, which I always send anybody I can to Pizza Rock. I love that place.
You should have went over to Hogs and Heifers.
Hogs and Heifers. Well, Anthony,
it's gone this week.
Oh, is it gone this week? Oh, I did hear about that.
This is the last week. In fact, like the power hasn't even been working, or they shut it off early, or they did something.
Oh, wow.
But Hogs and Heifers being the typical Hogs and Heifers for people that I know we've talked about in the past. There was a movie in the past called Coyote Ugly where the bartender's just hot, but they're raunchy and just trashy, and they'll yell at you, and they dance on the bar. It's fucking brilliant. It's amazing. They're closing down, like the people that own the D, and I think they're partnered up with the Circa or whatever, but they just opted to not choose their thing. But so it's right next to where Pizza Rock is, and it's like you can almost call it like a biker's bar.
It is.
But they are. I think the power's been out for days or something, or maybe it's going to come back on. But yeah, I want to say this is the last week.
That was an institution there for years, man.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. I hope they find their new spot, but. I wasn't going to bring it up, but you brought up Pizza Rock. I was like, oh, you're
right
so
next
close.
To it. Well, we didn't.
Right next to it.
We didn't do a lot of bar hopping because Anthony is a couple months out from fighting, so he's abstaining for the time being. So we kind of kept the entertainment, the alcohol centered.
Drink for him.
Yeah. I'll handle it. Don't worry, bro. I'll handle it for both of us. We're all good.
I got yours as well.
So anyway, that was a good time, man. It was good to see him out here, though. So I'm excited to see him compete, man, and excited for everybody. When Dana White's Contender Series start again. So, listen, it is we talked about the PFL that's happening. We talked about the Lingerie Fighting Championships that happened. Not a UFC event this week, but worth following up, I guess. I feel like everybody's still kind of beaming from UFC 317. Obviously, it was an incredible event. International Fight Week was fun. I have yet to find anybody bad to say anything about UFC 317. And I thought it was interesting to see, because you and I talked about it on the and a half episode, that I reconsidered my number one pound-for-pound pick after I had initially cast it, obviously before it was due, but I usually get mine done in plenty of time. I went back to it and changed it because I initially said, I'm going Ilia Topuria number 2. I can't have number. I think Islam's number 1. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Nope. He's number 1, and I thought maybe I was going to be on an island, and I thought maybe I was going to be, the standout, but. Man, again, I don't see the full, like, how they're compiled. I only see my votes, but the results came out, and Ilia Topuria is the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. And I'll, just real quick, I'll kind of go review it again. It's just like, man, going back and just seeing how special this 3-fight stretch was, and just the fact that he finished 3 Hall of Famers in a row in devastating fashion while Islam has been out for a little bit. He lost the one fight and ended up getting Moicano. Moicano has a loss that same. You know what I mean? So just, I felt like in the moment. And again, I don't want to take away anything from Islam's overall his overall case, his overall career, and if he claims the welterweight title here in a couple months when he fights for it, I would probably say you immediately switch him back to number one. But
that's it.
I take it from Gorgeous George Garcia, years and years of an old colleague, and him and I worked on the rankings together, and I always thought he said, I loved what he would say, rankings are a snapshot in time. It's like that moment right there. It's that moment. And to me, at this moment, just that run that he's on, I feel like Ilya's number one. And so that's why I changed my vote. It looks like a lot of people did too, so I think you were kind of on board with me as well, right? Like it's the right move to make.
Yep, and just to go back to George, we've been producing the rankings report videos again, and he in fact as well put Ilya as the number one in the junkie pound for pound. So just to give you a top real quick rundown, Islam is number 2 now.
Right.
We have Pantoja as number 3.
Ooh.
Merab is 4th. Dricus is 5th. Magomed Ankalaev is 6th. Volkanovski 7, Pereira Alex 8, JDM is 9th, Bilal rounding out at 10 with Aspinall at 11, Ngannou, Hamzat Chimaev at 13, Shavkat at 14, and Arman Sarukian at 15, and John Jones is no longer in the pound for pound list.
Well, yes, he is officially gone at this point. I took him. Well, he's no longer in the UFC rankings. He's no longer eligible, but I guess in an independent rankings panel like Junkie is, you could keep him in there if you wanted to, if you felt that he deserved to be in there.
But if you lead the game, might as well take him out of the rankings.
I think so. I think so too.
Yeah.
If you're sitting on the sideline for injuries or whatever, but if you announce your retirement and say I'm done, I think you take him out right away as well. So
yeah. And, I mean, a lot of times, especially with the pound for pound, you're getting some movement because of you're getting activity, but to hold a spot in that of all rankings, I think that's one of the ones that, even though it's so subjective and people, one outlet's their version's this, another outlet has their version, I think if anything else, more people are looking at the pound for pound rankings as opposed to the individual breakdowns of any division.
Right.
Because it's the one that's the most easy to talk and just sort of like elaborate forever. You look at the top of like the lightweight division, you look at the top of the heavyweights, who the top players are. There's not a lot of speculation. There's not a lot of room for you to say, oh, but what if, and this, whereas the pound for pound, it's kind of fun like that. You get to see guys in different divisions in there. You can kind of really bring up scenarios and you could talk about, oh, what this guy's done, what this one. So if anything else, I mean, it's probably the most exciting one to kind of look at. So the last thing you want to do is have something stagnant sitting in there that's just going to hold up, the possible of somebody else going into it. And especially if they say they're retired, it's like, go on, son.
It's a good point. It's funny you say that because it is true. Like, on the one hand, like pound for pound is almost the silliest discussion because like it's like there's no way to prove it. You know what I mean? But it's like Jordan versus LeBron versus Kobe. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like who's the best? Like well, they're in different eras and different things, and so it's like almost the most pointless discussion. But like if you're sitting around having a couple of frosty beverages or you're at the barbershop or whatever, like that's the chat. Like it is the more intriguing because you're right. Like in the divisions themselves. They're pretty well shaken out, and you pretty well he beat him, and he beat him, and when you get to pound for pound, they can't fight each other anyway for the most part. But it is kind of the most entertaining, even though it's the most pointless, it's the most entertaining. So that's kind of an interesting point.
100%.
So I'm good with it, and just what Ilya's done, man. It is pretty cool, and we talked about it in the and a half as well, but I really did. From the early meeting we had with Ilya Topuria, the Friday before fight week even started to all the fight week itself. Maybe not media day as well. Media day, he seemed a little bit annoyed and tired, and over the whole thing. But from the early pre-fight interview we had to the post-fight interview to the performance itself, I enjoyed Ilya Topuria greatly, man. And I thought that really was a star-making performance.
Yep. I just want to make sure I had to give Nolan. Nolan wanted me to give you a shout out. I told him I was trying to. We were taping this because I did an interview. He interviewed Joshua Van. Speaking of 317
nice.
and cool shit that came from that fight, so we interviewed that, and then afterwards I was like, hey, give me some a time frame so I can cut down for the auto player in Presto.
Right.
And then he just put another request for a social. I was like, calm down, son. Trying to tape right now. and he knew that we were doing the LFC, and he's like, LFC? And I was like, no, Roadshow. He's like, oh. And he's like, but please feel free to interrupt John to say hi. So there's the awesome interruption, Nolan. He said hi. He said he misses you.
Still a big fan of Nolan King for sure. That's funny. I was actually talking about him earlier today. I was actually talking with the cats over at Topology about a couple things over there, and just some possibilities for the future.
Without him helping out over there, I don't know how shit gets done over there.
I'm telling you.
Sometimes it just doesn't.
Look at that. Nolan's a stud. Good dude, man. A good dude in the space for sure, man. So hopefully get to see him and come across him soon. So shout out to Nolan King as well. Appreciate him giving us support. So, yeah, listen, I felt like there were some staunch supporters in charge of Islam who were, obviously Ali Abdelaziz, I understand he voiced his concern.
Yep.
It's his client. And look, and it is fair.
I heard he stopped giving you he stops giving interviews if you don't put him at number one.
Is that
I hear he stops calling you.
Uh-oh.
He's like, hey, I was gonna give you Kayla, but tell me your pound for pound top 5 real quick.
Be like, well, dude, I did crack up when Dana the other night was like, I don't do the pound for pound. I'd still have John Jones there. Like, that was great, man. Like,
that was. It's funny. It's late. He'd probably already been drinking. He was dealing with everything else. It was such a crazy night of stuff. It can be up and down. And he's the kind of guy that he doesn't just show up there and watch the fights. The dude is still paying attention to the broadcast. He sees something. He's on the horn constantly about the show. He's watching the broadcast. So the dude's definitely whatever. So you never know what his mood's going to be like. But when he got back there, he seemed like he was in a good mood. And when he delivered that, I was just like,
that was funny.
That's awesome.
That was good.
I was like, well done, dude. I was like, he was in a good mood.
Yeah.
I was like, that was legit pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. He was in a good mood after that one. How do you not be after that amazing event?
Yeah, right. Except for those darn helicopters. What? Even though it's the same shit every time. He's like, what is it about these helicopters? He's like, are we near the airport?
Yeah, you know what's funny? We didn't talk about that on the NF. So it's funny. So for years, I have just assumed, because you're so right. If anybody watched that post-fight press conference, you'll see Dana stops a couple times. He's like, what? Is it a war zone out there? Like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like,
sounds like the beginning of MASH or something.
And listen,
which is a show back in the day.
Oh, look at that! You just dated yourself.
You
dated yourself tremendously, sir. Yeah, but those helicopters, we hear them all the time. And do you hear them all through the night, or is it always just kind of post-fight?
Just sporadically. This last event, there was 1 or 2 times earlier in the night that they did come over. Because that one time they came through and another fighter was just like, whoa, he thought he had to stop because it was that loud.
Right.
He's just sort of stopped.
Which you don't have to, because the mics pick it up, and the mics will pick it up in the recording.
And it's fine, but I thought, but good on them, that just shows, one, their awareness to be like, because they think like, okay, they can't hear me, they're going to ask me to repeat my answer, so I'm just going to stop and let the sound go. Which some people, if they've never been in an interview like that, they don't have that presence of mind. So, but that's the weird thing that I focused on. I was like, oh, good job. He stopped. He recognized the sound.
Media savvy.
Whatever.
That's the type of observation a journalist of the year would make. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Nominations are coming out soon. The voting period. The eligibility period is over. The Fighters Only World MMA Awards.
Oh, well then darn it. I must not been able to get in there.
No, I'm saying it's just the eligibility period has ended.
I see what you're saying.
The nominations are still being tallied right now, so I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, if it doesn't happen, then we can clearly show that it's rigged. We can just for once and all, and just be like, there's no possible way that I could not have, and if I didn't, then it can't possibly.
Then it just can't be legitimate. It just can't be legitimate. Well, we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, so over the years, like I've always wondered, like when is Dana just going to go so pissed off that he's like, we got to move this thing, or you guys got to build something? Because it's been years now.
I'm going to call the airport real quick. I know.
We got
some
to
days
change.
He doesn't
change
get to
the
some days
airspace restrictions above the tent. Like,
right?
Hey, man.
Can you just fly them? Can you just go straight north to Centennial, take them out by Red Rock, and then come back and just land at the airport? Can you just not pass the strip?
Yeah,
because you're harshing my buzz.
I just keep waiting until they're going to build something better than that tent out there, but it doesn't.
Oh, that was kind of funny. So, and for those that did actually see that in the press conference, one of the higher ups at the T-Mobile happened to be in the back of the venue. In fact, when they were checking us in, this guy filled in for the staff because they had the interns or one intern and one of the new PR people, and then they got dragged off. So then this T-Mobile guy, I forget what his name is, I'm not going to put him under the bus, was checking us in for one of the things. He was in the back of the thing, and then Dana was like, when are they going to build something? And then he sees in the back, and then he starts jawing back and forth, and the guy starts having fun. teasing Dana like, yeah, we'll get right on that, because I think we talked about it in the half. Nobody else uses the tent. The tent goes away after it.
But did you get the joke? And I won't throw his name, but he was having fun, so I won't put him on record since nobody knows who it is. But did you get the joke that he laid out there? He's like, I don't
know if I heard it.
So the gentleman from MGM who said it, he was like, well, Dana's like, when are you going to build us something permanent? He's like, we'll got to. He's like, as soon as you bring us Canelo Crawford. And he was like, is that a promise?
Oh, that's right.
But what I don't think Dana got is that Canelo Crawford isn't part of MGM. It's going to Allegiant Stadium, who don't have ownership in MGM. So that's why he was like, well, as soon as you bring us Canelo Crawford, we'll build something permanent. And Dana was like, is that a promise? Is that a promise? Because we're bringing you Canelo Crawford. Like, you're not bringing us Canelo Crawford. You're bringing Allegiant Stadium. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty funny. Like, that one kind of flew over Dana's head real quick.
And I do remember that. Yeah.
That was good. So, yeah, we need a permanent structure out there, though, at some point. That tent's got to go at some point. All right, listen, speaking of, couple boxing highlights. Great transition there, Canelo Crawford. Did you see this? We don't usually cover boxing, obviously. We leave that to the experts. I won't pretend to be obviously I love boxing, but our world is entrenched in mixed martial arts, so we only watch the occasional boxing. But did you see this from the Department of Homeland Security? That they have arrested Mexican boxer and criminal illegal alien Julio Cesar Chavez. He is now being processed. And this is straight from a tweet that they sent out, that the Homeland Security sent out. He is now being processed for expedited removal from the United States. The Sinaloa cartel affiliate has an active arrest warrant in Mexico for his involvement in organized crime and trafficking firearms, ammunition, and explosives. And then there's a link to their website where they give further details on it. And it's interesting. They do outline quite a few bit of charges, and obviously if you know anything about Mexico and the Sinaloa cartel, like, it is a very highly dangerous criminal organization. So if there's any,
it's a bad one.
Yeah, to be involved
with
that.
Not that there's any good cartels down there.
Yeah. No,
but
that's the good cartel. That's the nice cartel, bro. Like,
as cartels come, that one's not so bad.
Yeah, that's the cartel that goes to like the kid hospitals and does like the little toy balloons and stuff. They take
cartel. The kids out of the hospitals, to give them a chance to get away. They just never come back.
The candy cartel, they're awesome. No, the Sinaloa cartel is a dangerous organization. But anyway, so they outline everything, but it's just the weirdest thing to me. And they do outline, and they've got a whole outline of like charges and referrals, and they say that he's linked through marriage and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it lays out the case. But it's just weird because the dude just fought Jake Paul in a very public setting. And I did read the timeline. It does say that following multiple fraudulent statements on his application to become a lawful permanent resident, he was determined to be in the country illegally and removable on June 27th, 2025. Now, the fight with Jake Paul was the following day, June 28th, 2025, and then the release was today. They sent it out. They actually got him on July 2nd, I believe, which was yesterday as we're recording this. But
I mean, if you watch that fight, he deserves to get sent out of this country. It was a waste of people's time.
All right. Well,
no, I'm just kidding. It was bad.
So the fight was terrible.
I gotta say,
okay,
it was terrible.
Can we just,
I was like, Jake, come on.
All right, so let me just lay out a couple of these. I did not see it. I went and came back and asked you and Oscar Willis Hot Tea about it. Like, hey man, how was the fight? I didn't watch it, and y'all were both like, it was god awful. Like, there were rounds where he did nothing. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go. Yeah. I'm not gonna reach out to watch that now. But I did see the stats and stuff, and there were rounds where he threw like 6 punches or less, like crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so two things. And again, we don't really talk politics, and so I don't want to get into that. But how do you if the guy really is, dangerous and needs to be escorted out of here, like, how do you let him hold such a public position and compete in such a public event unless you're basically just saying, well, financially that's good for our country. So I think that's weird, number one. And then number two, it does kind of make you wonder about the performance a little bit, right? Like, did he know he was about to be arrested, or did he know, like, you know what I mean? Like, certainly this wasn't some shocking surprise to him, right? Like, they just showed up to his door and they're like, oh, what are you doing here, guys? Like,
it quite possibly could. I didn't look to see how long that this outstanding warrant had existed, whether it had been new or one thing. I mean, we've seen people come, if it wasn't for the warrant, and I think it was just about his connections, then I think that there would be maybe some question on whether they would have acted at anything,
right.
But I think if anything, the fact that he did have a connection or a warrant, and then he has a connection to this cartel that, right now they're trying to justify all this money being moved to defense of the border, to stop the fentanyl, to stop, illegal, entries, and to stop these cartels and these people coming in. So if this guy has a warrant, one, you probably should not be coming into the U.S. to be in a huge event if you don't have your house in order.
Right.
Like if you do have an existing warrant, you need to get that taken care of, or don't try to stay under the radar, bro. That's just common sense, I would think. I mean, granted, I don't have any international warrants. I don't know how much you have to take credit, but I would think don't put yourself in a huge spotlight if you have a warrant in another country that easily could be
one would think,
to.
maybe lay a little bit lower.
Because if it does set a precedent of just somebody having a, cartel or a organization, potentially sort of like suspect organization, then I would think that the Chimaev fight would be one of these ones that people would question as well. Now, the difference between the two being Chavez had a warrant for his arrest. Right. Chimaev, as far as we know, does not. But does he have a connection to an organization that's been tagged as being, in support of terrorist organizations, groups, all this other stuff? Like Chechnya is not high on the list of a lot of things, and that's what we've kind of thought for a long time, that, that's why he's not fighting in the States.
Right.
But then he has a fight that's coming up. Where is it? Florida or
Chicago?
But it's somewhere in the States.
Chicago. I did see
Chicago.
I did see he posted a picture the other day of like going through an immigration spot or customs or whatever.
Yeah. What if it's a long play where he's like, I can't get out, I can't get from under this dude's thumb. If I come to your country, can you arrest me and make me have to stay?
Seek asylum, basically.
Seek asylum. But the thing is, it's not just him; it's his family. Supposedly, what the thumb is on is his family back home. So I don't know. I was thinking, can they do something to allow him to stay away, but put it under the guise that he's, I don't know, he's not able to leave the country again after Kim
like to go swoop in and get his entire family out of there.
Something, right?
That'd be crazy.
But I mean,
that would be a crazy
but it's
story.
Interesting. But yeah, I would think anybody that has a warrant, don't come compete in the States. Don't put yourself on a billboard. Maybe it would have been even more shocking if you went out there, starts Jake, and everybody's super, super happy. Then maybe they would have been like, "Hey, thanks, bro. Thanks for beating that kid. We're gonna let you slide, but can you get that warrant taken care of?"
So, all right, see, now it makes sense. Now it's because I was like, look at the timeline for this thing. The timeline for this thing seems a little bit suspect, but now you have made it make sense. That
they were hoping. They're like,
if he beats Jake Paul, we let it slide. You know what I mean? But then you went out there and you
go get that taken care of, son. Pay that ticket when you get back. Pay that ticket. But still, yeah, it's shocking. Because it just, and they said it in their post, nobody's, what did they say is
like above the law, even
above the law. Thank you very much. That's what I was looking for. You could be a huge name, you could be a big popular, professional sports athlete, and you can't get away from it. But
it was a wild
yeah,
story,
I was surprised. The connection to the family, I was like, okay, now we're stretching. If you can prove it, cool. If he's actively in the organization or whatever, but if you have a warrant, bro, don't. We see that here when people, try to, not that they have active warrants. Anytime people try to go into Canada, some people try to go over to Australia, some people try to go into other countries that have records. You, for the longest time, not throw you on the bus, you were trying to get TSA.
This is true.
But you couldn't get TSA because of, like, when you were a kid and you had on the police record.
It's true.
So when people try to go into some countries, like, it's legit. You can't even get in, So
that's true. I got turned down.
If you have something on your record, like, traveling is suspect. Traveling is hard, Like, you never know if their country might just be like, nope, sorry, you can't come in. Get back on the plane or whatever. But this was kind of even worse. It was like, go get your ass beat, but take a little money, and then we're going to deport you.
So bizarre. What a weird story.
It's such a crazy story.
It is a crazy story. I will say one other boxing story I wanted to share as well that I did see that I thought was cool on a much less bizarre note was that Molly McCann signed a contract for Matchroom Boxing with Eddie Hearn. So,
I did not see that.
Yeah, I thought again, I'll say it again. don't follow the boxing scene nearly as much as we do mixed martial arts, of course, because the events typically overlap, and blah blah blah. You get it. But every time I see an interview or something with Eddie Hearn, like he just always seems like a sharp dude, like a good promoter, and I don't know, he just always seems like a sharp cat and very very entertaining. So I like to see Molly. Obviously, they're based in England as well, so it makes sense. But it's good for Molly, right? Like she's 35 now. She had some not so great results at the end of her MMA career, but she's a fun fighter. She's a fun interview, and we've talked to a lot of these athletes who later in their career, it's like, man, full MMA training with all the grappling and all the wrestling and all the jiu-jitsu and all that, it's hard, but if I'm just boxing and all I have to worry about is throwing hands and getting in cardio shape there, like I can do that a lot longer. And she's obviously a fan favorite. She loves to fight, and so I don't know, I thought that was cool. Like sometimes you see somebody late in their career and they sign somewhere and you're like, oh no, like come on man, like don't keep doing that to yourself. But Molly still seems like she can fight. It just seems like MMA is a little bit tough with the grappling. It was the grappling. That was what was causing her issues. So to be in boxing, man, I'm excited. I like Molly, man. I'm a fan. Like she's just such a fun spirit, and she's got out there and she throws down. You know what I mean? What else can you ask for?
Yep, 100%. She is so much fun to watch. I mean, she's fun in the cage. She's fun out of the cage. I mean, I can't remember any interview I think I've ever heard where I've just been like, oh, well, that was a waste of my time to listen to that interview. It just doesn't happen, man. She's a ball of fun, man. And she literally seems like she would be an absolute riot to hang out with outside of like work. Like if you're lucky enough to have some pints, that would be fun. I would love to be able to taste her, try her like at a restaurant.
Yeah, restaurant. I think she has a couple restaurants now, right?
Got a chance. Yeah, I think she's got a couple. That would be really cool to just stop by and just see, what their take is. I'm sure she's partners and has somebody else do it, but I mean, like, she was very, very proud of that. So it'd be pretty cool to ever get a chance to check out one of those restaurants.
100%, yeah, 100%, and that's cool, man. And that is cool when you see people like that use. I mean, unless you can get to the highest level of sport, if you can get to a champion status, like obviously that can be big in terms of millions of dollars coming in. But for the most part, it's not going to be, I never have to work again when I'm done with this kind of money that you make in fighting, even if you're fighting at the UFC level. But if you can use your notoriety and a little bit of the income that you made to parlay that into another business and to set yourself up for the next phase of your career, that's a successful career, man. That's like you using the platform and using the system to your advantage. You know what I mean? You trade some damage to your body along the way for sure, but then you capitalize on that and say, hey man, I was able to use this into another business. So anyway, I'm happy for what she's got going on outside of it, but I'm happy for that as well, because I think she's still got something to offer in the boxing ring. I think I'll be paying attention to that. She's a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
All right, listen, no big events. Like I said, you got the PFL regional events. They are good. Again, I'll continue to praise the PFL for what they do with those. I do think that is the best thing they're doing in the sport right now. Is kind of building those regional organizations. But certainly we're not going to break those down. And we know it's a holiday weekend, so I know everybody's kind of just looking forward to a little time off, a little barbecue, maybe a couple frosty beverages or two. We will certainly be doing the same after we get the Lingerie Fighting Championship stuff done. So we won't keep anybody too long. I think I just saw I think I just heard my son is back. So from his movie, he went to go see the F1 movie today. He's getting very much into motorsports and F1 and stuff like that. So I'll have to go find out.
I heard that's a decent movie from somebody that was an F1 fan. I heard that it was the way that they shot it and other stuff. As much as I love the F1 stuff, even though this is more like, I guess, the Grand Prix side of things and other stuff. I hear it's actually pretty good. So
that's cool. I'm gonna go get a full.
I will not go to the movie and ruin somebody's movie experience by just saying like, "Get the fuck out of Vegas," in the movie theater. You'll not hear me do that.
That would be amazing, just to show up in the movie theater, in a packed theater, like, you make traffic so terrible here. You haven't generated.
I can't get to the places I want to get. Like, where's the part of the movie where they shut down the walking bridges?
I do not believe in your financial reports.
The pedestrian bridges listed in there once.
That's so ridiculous. That would be great. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
to see.
right.
That is
Wow.
not the fun part of it. But F1 a global phenomenon. So I'll go hear how the movie is doing and go spend a little time with the family. Actually, like I said, they were gone for a while, so it's great to have them back. So we won't keep anybody too long with it being a holiday. So everybody just have a great, wonderful weekend. Of course, we appreciate everybody that supports us over at patreon.com/DMARoadshow. No and a half this week with no major event, but of course we'll be back with you next week as we start to transition into all the events in July. Busy time for CFFC, busy time for UFC. A lot of big events coming up, and we'll break it all down as always. In the meantime, enjoy the holidays, and thanks for listening.